love that.
Mm-hmm.
That's a really good one. Good for grounding. I'm recording already.
Perfect. We entered the time portal, baby, where time is illusory, it doesn't exist.
Welcome to Openly Spoken, the podcast to help you show up, speak out, and be seen within your relationships, your work, and most importantly, with the relationship with yourself. In this podcast, we talk about all things self-love, relationships, sexuality, spirituality, and more. Hi, I'm your host, Celia Antonio, and I'm a women's sexuality and self-love coach, a mindfulness expert, and your cheerleader for your most grounded and expansive self-expression. You can connect with me on Instagram at selfexpressedbabe, and for all of my guest episodes, there will always be links in the show notes so that you can find them online. I give my deepest thanks to you for being here and spending your precious time with me today. Now let's begin our journey. Awesome. Now we are recording. Welcome everyone to Openly Spoken. Today's guest is Adonica Albert. And I am going to first introduce you, Adonica. Thank you so much for being here, by the way. I will introduce you and then we'll get into our conversation. So Adonica Albert is a woman on a mission to redefine menopause with humor and holistic wellness practices. I love that. So as she journeys through this transformative phase of life, Adonica embraces laughter and the benefits of red light therapy to alleviate menopausal symptoms and to promote overall well-being. All right.
I like it. It blurs out my back.
Yeah.
Background.
So how are you doing today?
Well, I think I just believe that the shift in this energy right now is crazy. I was up really early this morning to work out, and I did a quick 10-minute meditation on calmness, which told me to lie down again. I'm like, I just got up. I don't have to lie down again. But I did, and it just shifted everything for me to have a great workout, even though I was exhausted from the weekend. And it's nuts that how that works out. But then it's kind of funny how the universe plays, where you go on and everyone's like, Monday's your reset button. Start Monday's a reset. I swear to God, LinkedIn has about a bazillion reset buttons for Monday. And I'm like, oh, okay. Maybe I'm not going cuckoo.
Yeah. I've
Maybe
never heard
it's
that
time.
Monday reset button thing yet.
Yeah. I posted something from a doctor that I follow, and he's super kind. He's a spinal doctor, and he posted about resets. And I'm like, okay, well, Monday, everybody always starts their intentions on Monday. And then they kind of dwiddle. Like, through the week, you kind of get to Friday and you're like, oh, I don't have anything else. But on the reset buttons on Monday, it's like setting that whole week up and how you are actually going to figure out your week. And it's not just figuring out your week social work-wise, it's figuring out your mind-wise and body-wise. What are you going to do new today? What's going to happen today? And that's what I like doing, is like resetting. And I'm like, so reset was my 10-minute meditation, because I haven't done it in a long time. So I had to reset it. And I was like, okay, here I go. Get up at 5 in the morning. Yay, me. Me and the cat. My husband's sleeping, my kid's sleeping, me and the cat meditating. I'm lying down, she's on my chest, and I'm like,
oh,
it's hard to breathe, but I'll let her. She's purring, so that's a good sign. And then it was 10 minutes, and she took off, and I'm like, see ya. And I was ready to go. But it was kind of like, you can tell the energy shifted today, because the sun is resetting as well, right? It's going away and coming back. So
the lighting outside looks really weird right now.
You're so more south than we are, so you would get it really good, because we're so light up in the north. And then my girlfriend's East Coast, and she says the lighting is really weird, and she's more south than we are. So I think when you're more south, I think you'll get that effect. But I don't even know when it starts. I think it started already.
Probably. I don't know. I have a friend who's in Texas today for like an eclipse festival.
Yeah. Oh.
And they're supposed to like actually see the eclipse happening there.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Hopefully
what
she has
time.
her glasses on, because you're not supposed to stare at it, eh?
Staring right at it.
It's like, okay. Well, and then the indigenous part of the people that we have up here and probably everywhere, and I'm 10% indigenous, and what they say is not to look at it, but it's a rebirth. So reset, rebirth. And I'm like, oh my God. It's like everything's coming in one day. It's like a big wave just hits you in the face and you're like, okay.
Yeah.
And then my husband calls and goes, what are you doing there? And I said to him, I just baked and I'm sitting down because I feel strange. He goes, oh, okay. Because men are kind of, they either get it or they don't. He just said to me, don't go outside, look at the sun. I'm like, okay, it's done. I knew that, but yeah, but it was okay. But yeah, so it's like stay inside, keep the dogs and cats inside too as well. The animals out in the forest should know what they're doing because they'll have a feeling, but yeah, it's kind of, there you go, reset.
Yeah.
How
Yeah.
exciting.
I wonder how the animals react to seeing
Yeah. Well,
like
and
when the actual eclipse
I
happens.
know. I wonder if they'll be howling because we have a lot of coyotes.
So
And I
do
wonder if
we.
they're, yeah, see, I wonder if they're going to be howling because I know the coyotes have babies. April's their baby day, baby month.
Oh,
And
nice.
yeah, and on the weekend we could hear them. They were just so loud. Every time a siren goes off, they get really agitated
Yeah,
and
here
loud.
too.
I know.
They
And
howl along with the
I was
siren.
like, what's going on? Did they get a kill? And then I'm looking at my cat and she's like right beside me. Like she's like, okay. So it'd be interesting to see if she gets her zoomies at the same, like if that's gonna change
Ah,
her
yeah.
dynamics as well. Even sleep tonight. I wonder if the sleep's gonna our sleep's gonna change too. So I don't know. It's gonna be an interesting one because I think the last time I was just little, like we're little.
Yeah. Yeah.
Last time this happened, so it's nuts.
Yeah. So
Exciting.
speaking of seasonal
Yes.
shifting and things
Yeah.
changing, I know we wanted to talk about menopause today.
Yes. I wish they'd shift right out of me. I'm just kidding. Yeah.
I'm one of the things I'm curious about before we talk about menopause is
Yeah.
like what your relationship was with your cyclical body before menopause. Like,
Oh,
what was your
yeah.
relationship like with having a period?
Well, I didn't. Well, I had because I'm a stroke survivor, and then you have periods, you get on a blood thinner, and then your periods are tenfold than everyone else's. So you don't go outside, you don't do your runs because your tampon is literally falling out because you
Oh,
have to change it every 5 minutes. And then I went on other stuff. So me and my body, we're trying to figure it out. We're trying to figure it out. And it was kind of disappointing. Like, it's like, okay, no, wait, let's try something else. And then that didn't work. And then my doctor's like, well, I'll try this. And I'm like, okay, listen, by that time, you're like, I got so much in me because you're on birth control and you're on different birth controls. I couldn't go on a normal kind of cycle of birth controls because birth controls were one of the causes way back in the day of strokes, right, for women. And so they did all that. And then I ended up having a hysterectomy because it grew a fibroid. The size of a
oh
baby.
no.
So like a
The size
3 month
of a
old,
baby?
like almost like 3 month, the first trimester. So into
Whoa.
my second, it was quite big, a grapefruit size. And we just took it out because I wasn't going to have any more kids because I was high risk. But the relationship with my body it was kind of like, I wish I knew what I knew now back then. Because I
Yeah.
think my mindset was like, what else could go wrong with me? You know, and it was like not giving up hope, but kind of saying, seriously, what did I do to deserve all this commotion and chaos in my body? And I didn't know how to process it. So I went through a lot of depression and a lot of ups and downs. I had a baby to deal with, and I had a stroke when my baby was only 5 months old, and I ended up learning how to walk and using my limbs again. So I think I just went down the rabbit hole of depression, and that's what they do. There you go. And
Yeah.
but what I know now is what I can teach people now is to be one with your body, love it anyways, give it all the love you can. Because if I knew that, I think it would have been a better road for me in the long run, loving my body. Now, if you ask me now, some days,
Yeah.
but yeah. So back then it was hard. It was really hard and disappointing that I couldn't have a second.
A second child.
A second child.
Yeah.
Because there was no way I was putting myself through that because I was a high risk. So my one I have now is a miracle. I shouldn't have had any because it didn't work out that way, but he's my miracle. And
Yeah.
he's fantastic. Love him to death.
I know the
Yeah.
last time we connected, though, we were talking about like you were telling me how great it is just to have an only, like just to
Oh,
have
yeah.
one,
Yeah.
because I want to have only one.
I know. You know what? I am so, I was actually, it's quite funny you brought that up. Someone was talking to me about this, and I was like, we were just laughing about going to the park. Like way back in the day, we like hop in the van and go to the park. I never had a van, by the way. When you have one, you can have fancy cars. That's a
Oh,
good thing, because vans are
nice.
like, man, then you
Yeah,
have to
vans
take
are
every,
ugly.
I know, but that's the problem, is then all of a sudden you have a zillion kids, because you can put a zillion kids in your van to bring
Yeah, you like
home.
grow into it. Like
Oh,
you
I
buy the
know.
van and then
Oh,
you
I
grow
know.
into it.
So I could only take one or two, because my car only fit one or two. So I only had like one friend or two friends here. So it was kind of fun. But we were talking about going to the park, and my girlfriend, who has 4 boys, I was like, I would call her up and like, you know what? What time do you want to go? She'll say, oh, I'll meet you there at 1. And I said, okay, I'll leave at 5 to 1. She's getting ready with 4. And I'm like, I'll get there and she's still late. I'm like, sucks for you. But yeah, and then we end up helping her because I have 1. So you become another mother to another child, and you're like, oh my God. So, but like I said, it's so much. You have to give him the strength to be okay by himself. And I know that my son Evan will be okay by himself. Like I never played with him all the time. I couldn't. I had to cook, I had to clean. He figured it out to play. And that a lot of 2s and 3s didn't figure out. It's always fighting. I want that. I want that. I never heard that. What I heard was, Mom, I'm going to color. I said, okay, color. And then I went to, like, I'd be piddling in the house and he'd be on his own playing by himself. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is kind of nice. And I like that because it's preoccupation, and I think, like, got his mind going. Right. So it was kind of nice. We didn't have the technology they have now. He had to find things to do.
Yeah. Which is good. I know that there's a book that came out recently. I think it's called The Anxious Generation.
Yeah.
Have you heard of that book?
I kind of heard of it.
I haven't read it yet, but I want to.
The more you read, and I told you this too, don't get all into the books, like, because your child's going to be different from everyone else's, and then you'll figure it out. But it's nice to have a guideline.
Yeah.
Actually, to go
well,
back.
it's just a book about how like kids they used to grow up playing. And now there's less learning through play, and there's more just like being on an iPad.
Yeah.
And how that's causing anxiety.
Oh, it totally is. And I always say back to Evan when he was little, and my husband and I would go, we got kicked out of the house to go and play.
Yeah.
And we didn't have friends, so we played with whatever was outside. Or we
played with mud and rocks and sticks, and we were happy.
We played cowboys and Indians, for God's sakes, and hide and seek. And we used to throw the bowl over the roof and to your friend. We had all the games outside. And when the street lights came on, that's when we would go home, or my mother would call us for supper. But we also know, but we also said, I'm going to Mary's house, and we walk over to Mary's house. Or we always had people in our lives. We didn't have iPads, and we were restricted on TV. We didn't have what they have now. We watched the Walt Disney Channel Sunday nights at 6:00 was our time for TV. And I'm like, best thing ever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you ever as a kid drink water out of a hose because you didn't want to go home and your mom tell you like, all right, it's time to stay inside now?
I know. Yeah. Time to clean up.
It's like, no, absolutely. I can't go home, but I'm thirsty. I'm going to drink out of the hose.
And now you wouldn't do that, because God forbid you get a germ. And I believe that's what's wrong with half our kids, is they weren't able. They're so sick now. When you think of all the ADHD out there, all the allergies, all the stuff that kids have right now that we didn't have growing up, it's because we were able to get sick, and we were able to let our body start healing itself. And I love listening to parents that have newborns, and now that they have Facebook, they think Facebook's the doctor, and they say, what do I do? My kid's got a rash. Well, let him be. Let his body take over. Let his body do its work, because its body has the immune system to fight that. And that's what we did. And my mom and dad, when we had chickenpox, we have all our friends over for chickenpox parties. Everyone
gets immunity
at the same time. I know. It was super funny. all four of us, or like three of us, I had two brothers, and we're all like this. My mom's like, stop scratching. We're not, we're just rubbing. But that's the way it was. We got sick, and I was a very sick kid. Like I had the flu, I had mono, I had everything. But as an adult, my immune system's strong enough, it fights off a lot of stuff. It can. Yeah.
Same. I'm like never sick.
Yeah.
And I was raised to like, if you feel under the weather, drink some green tea and chew on some raw ginger, and that's it.
Yeah. 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 Well, that's
It's
the
actually
thing.
really good. Like when you get used to it, it's really tasty.
Well, I had a bad experience with raw ginger when I was
you did?
I was on a husband said, let's go to in BC, one of the places that you can go is go see whales. And then we decided to go on a boat. And I'm not a boat person, and the swells of the waves were like this. And of course I am green. Not me, but the whole boat, except my kid. He slept through it. So I'm like, seriously, buddy?
Even hearing about that makes me nauseous.
Oh, I know. And then I think we saw the tip of a whale's fin for a 2-hour tour. I'm like, get me home. So I get off. This lady goes, here's some ginger. But I was too far out. And then she says to me, get off the boat and stare at a tree. I'm looking at her. Are you kidding me? So then I get off the boat and I'm looking at this tree. And I'm like, okay, no. Say to my husband, I'll meet you at the restaurant there. And you know what I had? Plate of fries with a bazillion pounds of salt on them. Made me feel good, but I was sick for 2 days.
Oh,
just that. Oh, it was awful. But now we have a boat, so I'm a boater now. So
nice.
I'm on a cruise ship, yeah. So body can take care of itself.
Yeah.
Body can take. That's what we're missing. That's what we're missing. Definitely.
Yeah. So speaking of body can take care of itself, we've been kind of meandering, which is great. I love that. But to go back to the menopause story, when I asked you about your relationship before menopause, you mentioned some bits of your story that I'm sure listeners don't know about, like first of all, having a stroke when your child is 5 months old. That must have been so difficult.
Not at 5 months. When I had a 5-month-old, I was 29 driving my car, my first stroke. Yeah. In my car. Yeah. But when I had my kid, he was 5 months old. He was with me when I had my second.
Okay, that was your second one.
Yeah, that was my second.
And the first one, you were driving a car?
I was driving my car. Turned to switch lanes and came back, and I was like, oh, geez, I can't see. And I was like, well, maybe I'm just a little weird, because I worked in the fitness industry for so long. And I had a chiropractic maneuver the same week. And then, of course, you're on birth control pills. They give you all the scenarios. But I end up driving myself home. Couldn't get to my house because the strokes make you see this way. So I ended up down the street.
So you didn't crash into anyone?
No, I drove like I was drunk. So that's the key, that when you're a stroke victim, some of the symptoms are drunk-like. So slurring of words, not being able to stand up straight. So when I drove home, from what I understood, because somebody had followed me as I was driving on the shoulder. Yeah. So got there and I called my girlfriend and she came and got me. But at that time, we didn't, it wasn't, strokes weren't the big thing. Because, you got to remember how old I am. And at 29, they still were kind of minute when it comes to people my age. So, yeah.
29 is so young to have a stroke, too.
Yeah, it was scary. I was like, whoa. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ended up on blood thinners like an old person. So, Coumadin.
At 29.
At 29, yeah. So, yeah. So, but yeah. And then the next one was after I had my child. Again, they didn't know. Research didn't know what would happen. So yeah, and that's the one that put me in to start learn to walk again and use my arm. Yeah, it was crazy.
And then so you had 2 strokes first before menopause?
I had hold up. I had one, and then I had another one after my other one. So I've had I've had a major stroke, and then I've had 3 TIAs, which are little ones where they make a mark and they leave you. Yeah, I've had little ones too as well. Yeah.
That makes me think of when earthquakes have those little aftershocks.
That's what
I
it
live
is.
in California, so earthquakes.
Yeah, you get lots. Yeah.
Quick metaphor.
Yeah. They're like little, there you go. Okay, now I left you paralyzed. You know what I mean? It's just like little ones. And my dad's had a lot too, so it's kind of like a family thing. So, but yeah, so after Evan was born, I had the big one, another one. Then I had a little one, and then when he was in, I think he was 4 or 5, I had another little one. Yeah. So
Okay.
yeah.
So then
Hard to love your body when it gives up on you.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah, hard to love your body. Yeah. When I was a runner, I ate well. I was in the fitness industry, like hard. And I said to my mom, I said, maybe I should take up smoking. Like no one else is like, seriously.
Yeah, right. Might as well.
Might as well eat a bag of chips. But the fact of the matter is I just reversed it a bit and I said, well, there's a lesson in here for somebody like myself. Like there's a lesson, but maybe something to teach other people. Like just to be patient. I had to be patient with everything. And then my depression hits, everything goes downhill, and then you have to fight back to get back up. Thank God I'm kind of strong and I had great family support. Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
So what were some of the kind of like steps you took then from being in that space?
I think
you were like, there's a lesson maybe here I need to learn.
Well, back then, we're talking 25 years ago, where personal growth and life coaches and all that wasn't around. So of course I went and saw a counselor because at the hospital, they're like, okay, fill this form up, do this quiz. And if you're like sliding down the fail, we're going to have to put you on depressants and get you going. But my mom is my strength. And they were out east. So I'm here in Edmonton, out east. I had a beautiful sister-in-law that helped out with my baby. And I was fortunate enough to have health care come into the home and help me with my little baby too as well when she couldn't come.
Oh, that's great.
And Canada's kind of good that way, but my husband we could afford it. A lot of people can't. And I think that helped me a lot too as well. But I never gave up working out and eating properly. So and when the first thing, can I go for a run? I throw the kid in the running stroller and I go for a walk or I do a half jog. But exercise was my antidepressant pill because it's so good for the brain. And I knew that.
Antidepressant pill
I know.
too.
It's my pill. I'm not going on them because it makes me, and I was on them and they switched me off and then I had a seizure and I'm like, okay, listen, I am not taking this because I know that my body craves exercise. That's my addiction. And that's how I feel better is to get outside, to get out in that energy. Cause it's natural. It's natural light. It's natural rain or natural snow. And Evan, I say to my husband, okay, well, I'm going to go for a run. And Evan's like, I want to come. And he'd be like, okay, I'll put you in the stroller. Okay, we're going for a run. And he would join me at a toddler, like a little age, because it was our thing to do, but it was a great energy to know that I could get out. And that's what helped. I think that's what helped me through getting and girlfriends and talking. I love to talk. And men are like husbands, they like, they don't know what to say. Yeah.
My husband's really great with talking, but when it comes to things like periods and menopause, like they just
they
don't go through that as well. I get it on that aspect.
Well, I know. I would complain like about my periods and he's like, oh, okay. That's like, and now with menopause, I had to sit him down and think, you got like he'll touch me and then he'll go, seriously, let me explain this to you. He's like, he kind of just doesn't hear it. Like he doesn't hear it. And I'm just like, okay, whatever. So that's why it's great to talk it through with somebody. And I have wonderful friends for that. And laugh about it.
Yeah, laughing about it is great.
And I think laughter did a lot too. Plus I had a baby at the time and I wanted to live for my baby. And he was my sidekick. So that's cute. Yeah. Now he's a 6'5" sidekick.
6'5" sidekick. Wow. He's huge.
He's huge.
I've also heard that having other women to talk to after having a baby is like one of the most important things with like after like postnatal care, like one of the basic needs that a woman needs.
Well, one of the things we had was that we had baby groups. So after you had your
That's
baby,
great.
then you go to a baby group. So you don't go home. You go to a baby group. But I was sick. So I showed up, and the ladies that I made friends with are still are my good friends.
Oh,
And the kids are best friends.
oh, that's
So and we
awesome.
traveled together when the kids we just had Easter, we had a family that the kids grew up together, and the two boys were
Oh,
best friends. So the mom and dad came out, and it was
that's so
beautiful.
nice.
It was kind of a reminiscing, and you kind of grow apart, but you don't, because you have the kid connection. And then for Evan, he has best friends everywhere,
That's awesome.
like from those little groups. And if you can find a group like that, if you can't handle your child, you call a friend,
Yeah.
because they'll come over with theirs, and then I'll take that pressure, because that's what you need.
Yeah.
Yeah, you need that. They're my community. Yeah,
That's awesome.
great community. Yeah, and now they're still my community when I talk about menopause.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
absolutely.
curious if now that you are in your menopause chapter of life,
Yes.
and I'm curious if there are still, maybe the answer is no, so maybe there's like a different way you do this. I'm curious if there are still like inner seasons that you experience.
Like, what do you mean inner seasons?
Like before, when you were having your periods, you had like your luteal phase, your
Yeah.
ovulation phase,
Yeah.
where you
Oh,
felt a
yeah.
little bit more
Yeah.
energetic.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm curious if that still happens, or if you have a way that you like. I know some women like to be like, oh, the moon is full. Like I do certain things when during the full
Oh,
moon, or
yeah.
certain things
Yeah.
during the new moon. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
curious about that.
Well, I think, okay, so when I was 41, I had a hysterectomy, ovaries in. So I knew I was still menstruating, but I wouldn't bleed, right? So yes, absolutely. I'm like, oh God, I'm bloated. Oh, what time in the month? Oh, April 20. Okay, I'm having an ovulation. I get it. And they're
Yeah,
falling into, I call it the depths of hell. I don't know where the eggs go. They just absorb in my body. We're good to go.
because there's no
And
womb there.
there's no womb. I don't know where I don't know if they're crawling out of my head. I have no idea. I didn't want to know about that. They're falling somewhere. And I would joke about it with my girlfriends, because they would go into full menstrual cycle, and they were like, well, do you still get symptoms? I said, absolutely. I
Yeah.
bloat, I eat, I
Uh-huh.
crave salt. So that was my thing. And but I exercise, but there wasn't a connection to anything else but me. And that was the funny part, because I'd be like, my boobs hurt. Like, you just like, and then the next month they wouldn't hurt. Like, it was just
Yeah.
odd. And that's where everyone is so super different, is that
Yeah.
there's no menopausal rule. This is what's going to happen. This is what you're going to go through. Everyone is different. But I
Yeah.
didn't have full moon or anything like that. I knew the day when it started, and I actually knew when it ended.
Mm-hmm.
And and my girlfriend would laugh at me. I would say, I feel like I'm 9 months pregnant. She goes, shut up. Are you bleeding? I said, no. She just laughed at me. I'm like, whatever. She just like, everyone else, they have full. And I was like, oh, I was just kidding. But
Yeah.
yeah, but there was never a connection that way. It's just knowing that it was going to happen. And
Mm-hmm.
my husband knew, because it was emotional. I still got the hormones going on, and you cry, you sleep, you get energized. But the most important thing was keep it consistent. Do what you do, keep your routine consistent,
Mm-hmm.
work out, eat properly, eat healthy, drink water, drink alcohol, but enjoy life, but keep it consistent. That's the
Mm-hmm.
only way you can get through this, is consistency, and ask
Mm-hmm.
questions.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. Now that I'm full bang in it, every day is new. Crap. Today I was watching TikTok, bawling my head off. I'm like, oh my God, it was funny TikTok. Why am I crying? And yeah, every day is different now. But again, everyone's different.
Yeah.
But do what makes you feel good.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of people don't. And that's the scary part about it. Find something that makes you feel good. And it's okay to have a dumb day.
Yeah.
It's so okay to cry, and it's so okay to call a friend. It's okay. It's okay to eat a bag of chips, but whatever makes you feel good, make it consistent, especially through this tough time, because a lot of people have anxiety, depression, and that's not coming from lifestyle. That's just coming from hormonal change in your body. And that's the scary part about it. And we don't take care of ourselves that way.
Yeah.
At all. Yeah.
Why do you think a lot of people don't do like what makes them feel good?
I
Why do you
think
that is?
they just go through life. When I think about me, and I can only speak about myself, it's just that like I had to have that, I had to work out in the morning, because if I didn't work out, then the day would get me. And then our brains would overthink, our hormones will go crazy. And then that was my key. But what's happened now is that we don't talk about it. I'm not talking about it because people don't think they want to hear about it.
You don't talk
It's
about
just
menopause, you mean?
menopause. Yeah,
Okay.
it's just menopause. It's just, oh, you'll get over it. That's what my mom said.
Mm.
And that's the wrong way. If you because the quick fix is getting on Paxil or getting on the antidepressants to help with your anxiety. And I was
Or
one of
even
them.
like I've heard some people do like synthetic hormones to help with
You
their
can.
menopause
I do.
symptoms.
I do. Yeah. I
Okay.
do. I do. Absolutely. But you have to have the right hormone for your body. So ask your
That
doctor.
makes
If
sense.
one's not working, then
Yeah.
try another one. And
Yeah.
it's taking me three hormones to get the right one. And we're on the right one now. I have to be careful because I'm a survivor, a stroke survivor. It can mess up my blood, but I have to be really careful. I was on testosterone shots for the longest time, and that really helped me balance too as well. But I said, you know what? Let's get off some stuff here and let me go through the phases. So I sweat, I have back sweat, so I have boob sweat, so I have night sweats. This change of life. Embrace it. Embrace it. Look good. Embrace it and find something that you love.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Give your child a hug. And if you cry, who freaking cares? Because the other day I was telling you one thing, because the other day, and I wasn't emotional or anything. My hormones were, I don't know what day is going to show up. And I said to Evan, I said, you know what? Because he's going away to school next year. And he goes, you know what? I am so, and I couldn't get out, proud, love you. I was bawling. And he came over and gave me a hug. And that's what you kind of need.
Aww.
So don't hold it in.
Yeah.
Tell people. And then I've told the boys, my husband thinks it's funny that I flash like crazy, like sweaty. And I said to him, I said to both my boys, because one's 24, and he's going to have a girlfriend that's going to go through this. And my husband, I got to educate him. I said, you don't understand. It's not sweat. It's an inner burning. It's an inner fire. I can't just go out in the -50 and lie in the snow. It doesn't go away. It has to go through the cycle.
Yeah.
It was like, really? Well, I thought you just sweat. No,
Wow. Yeah.
it's an inner heat that comes outer. It's not like going to the infrared sauna or working out where you sweat and you go, oh, I'm done.
You
Yay,
are the
heart rate's
sauna.
good. I am the sauna and the Bunsen burner. And they said to me the other night, well, I'm going to come home and I'm going to cuddle you. I'm like, you really want to? And then he came in and he goes, no, you're too hot. You're all the other way. Like,
oh.
So but that's where the humor comes in too, as well. You have to embrace it. You have to embrace it. And you have to have that consistency in your life.
Yeah.
And you have to be able to talk about it and ask your doctor questions. I have a beautiful doctor. Ask them questions. This is not working. What else can I do? And find something that works for you, because every woman's different. Yeah.
What are some like must-have tools that help you with that, with the heat? Like,
well, I don't think there's anything that can help with the heat.
there's
It
nothing
just
that
comes.
can help.
No. I think for me, like last night I was in bed, I was like, turn the fan on. And he's got a cold. So I'm like, is that really? So we sleep. Here's one thing that'll help. I'm going to go tell everybody. I was in Germany one year, and with my husband and my kid, we were on a trip. We get it. I grew up in Germany. I'm a military kid, but I totally forgot about
I'm
this.
from Germany.
So yeah, where?
I'm from Bremen.
Oh, Lahr. And Baden. Yeah, that's where we grew up. But they have two comforters in Germany. Mom has a comforter, dad has a comforter. Best thing I did.
Nice.
I have my own blanket, so I can throw her off.
Yeah.
Or put it on.
Yeah.
And I try, the other thing I do at nighttime is I meditate. I just need to calm the mind because you can't help it. We're women.
Yeah.
Like I said before, our brains are like mush, like a yarn. We don't put them in boxes and shelves. We're always got this mesh of yarn going on that we're circulating thoughts in our brain, and that's nuts. So if you could find something, make it work. And then I know people that have showers in the middle of the night just to cool down.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's crazy. But that's one thing that we did is we changed what our bedding's like. That's just simple.
Yeah.
So he doesn't have to fight with me while I'm throwing and I'm finding the blanket.
Yeah.
Throwing it on. So yeah. So, and the cat even knows when I'm heated up. She leaves. Okay, Mom, you're too hot. I'm out of here. Bye-bye.
It makes sense too that the meditation would help because you said
meditation
it's this inner fire that doesn't go away. And if, like with meditation, you get used to like sitting in the shit of a human experience.
Absolutely.
And so when that fire happens, like you can
walk it through it. You can walk through it. I kind of visualize when I'm in the inner heat sometimes is that those rock walkers that on the rocks, but they do that. And like, so it starts and they get on, it's hot, and they get off. I'm like, that's who I am. Cause I can go from inner heat and then I'm good. But don't put any makeup on.
Oh, because it'll sweat off.
Yeah, sweat off. But it's not a smelly heat. You don't smell afterwards. And you don't lose any calories. I'm just saying, I wish I did because I'd be 110 pounds instead of what I am now.
Do you have to drink extra water? Have you found?
It's a no.
I wonder where this water comes from, the sweat.
I have no idea. I'm like, seriously. And when I work out, I'm like, look at my water bottle. I'm like, okay, that's interesting. And then when I sweat, I'm like, I just want it to stop. It's like, I'm just like, oh my God, please stop. And like to the point where my husband looks at me, are you like really? And I'm like, yes. We'll go step outside. I'm like, and I'm going, no. I just have to go through it.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate that we do not know the end date of this. That's the one thing. So it's just like when you're born, when you're born, you only know two things. When you don't even know when you're born, you're just born. And then you don't know. So it's menopause is the same way. You don't know when it's going to end. Yeah. And I've been in it for a very long time. Yeah. Yeah. So God.
And when did you start doing the red light therapy? Because that's been something that's helped you, right?
Yeah, tons. So about 2 years ago, I started a company, Cellebrate Light in Edmonton, Alberta. And we did it basically for my strokes, just finding out about brain fog and all that great stuff, because we were just stroking. We're just working on stroke symptoms. And then being in menopause, brain fog. I'm like, okay, get it now. Because as a stroke patient, you do have plaque on your brain. It's almost like a scar tissue on your brain. But a brain fog is a big symptom with women, is brain fog. The other big symptom with menopause is depression and anxiety. And I suffered from depression and severe anxiety of not being able to, it was just almost like claustrophobic. I had to be beside somebody, go in a restaurant that's small. I didn't know anybody had to leave, blah, blah, blah. So those are three of the biggest things that I suffered from. So when we were doing the research on strokes, we were like, it does what for menopause? We're like, okay, wait a minute here. Brain fog? Okay, I got that. Depression, anxiety? That's craziness. So 2 years ago, I decided, okay, well, we're going to concentrate on this and put me under the light for my head. So our light is about 178 inches. So it covers my head from my top of my head to the bottom of my boobs for brain health plus oral health. Two of the biggest things, plus gut health too, as well. So as I was under it, I said to Chris, I'm going to journal stuff. Like I'm going to remember, like I'm a big journaler. So I was like, this is interesting. Like I'm starting to feel better. So I would go under about 4 times a week. You can go 20-minute sessions. And I would just sit there and the next day I say, wow, this is crazy. I'm starting to feel more alert. I'm starting to feel more energized. I'm starting to feel more clear. Clarity was crazy. because beforehand I would call my husband at work and I said, you know what, I don't feel right. I'm not going to get in my car. I don't want to drive. I don't feel right. Can you bring supper home? Or I would nap in the afternoon, have like a 2.5 hour nap after I work out. So the whole entire system in my brain started to change. And it was kind of crazy because people would say, you look great. You look amazing. You're alert. You're energized. Like my business partner will call me a bunny. And this is incredibly what's happened to you. So I think about 6 months in, I went to the doctor and I said to her, okay, I've been under red light for 6 months now. Can you take my blood work? Because I was on blood pressure and cholesterol and baby aspirin and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And she comes back and she says, oh my God, your markers are absolutely fabulous. What have you been doing? I said, red light therapy. She goes, keep doing it. I'm a big believer in red light therapy. She was one of the few doctors out here in Western Canada and probably everywhere in the world that is a big believer in red light therapy. And now I barely take any drugs anymore because I go into light.
Wow.
So yeah, but it's helped me with my flashing. It's helped me with everything. I make sure I do my gut because gut health is your other brain, right? So you need to make sure your gut's right and then do your head too as well. Yeah, it was fantastic. And by the way, you just get bonuses like wrinkles. You get collagens 1, 2, and 3. You just get bonuses on top of that too. So I was like, whoa, wrinkles are going away. This is amazing. But unfortunately, it doesn't help you lose weight. I'm just gonna say. Because I'd be 120 pounds, but I'm not. No, but it makes you feel good inside and you feel good. Like it's systematically cells, right? So systematically goes right through your body. So if you do your head, your whole body's going to feel it. So yeah. And I think it's been a godsend that it was at the right time.
Yeah.
The universe was saying, yeah, you got to do something. And this is a big one, big one. And we've helped a lot of ladies with it too, with anxiety and depression and concussions and brain fog and flashing. And yeah, it's amazing. Amazing.
I've had one experience with red light therapy, and it was when I was living in Connecticut, and I had just moved there from Florida, so it was a harsh.
That's good. Oh, you got snow up there.
Shift environment, and I moved in December, so it was a huge shift.
Like cereal, you could have waited till the summer.
Yeah, and at that time the sun was going down at 3 p.m. or 3:30, something like that. And I was teaching yoga at this yoga and bar studio that also had these red light like beds.
Yeah.
They kind of look like tanning beds, but they were red light.
Yeah.
And because I worked there, I could do a red light therapy session for free.
Right.
So I did it once. I'm like, I don't know what this is, but I'm gonna try it.
Yeah.
And as soon as the light turned on, I remember my face I just smiled and was like, wow, I didn't even know that this was what I needed, because I was in this place that was like so dark from 3 p.m. That I was just missing out on the red light I would have gotten from the sun.
Well, and that's the thing. The other thing too is with SAD, which is seasonal depression, right?
That's totally what I got there. Seasonal depression.
I know, yeah. And we call our light a big sad machine because we suffer because we have 6 months of that darkness up here. And I made sure that I was under that light all the time because because of my hormones and all that great stuff. That's one thing I didn't want to deal with. And I'm good at getting outside anyways, if it's crappy outside and it's snowing. I love the snow and it's dark, but a lot of people suffer really bad up here from SAD. And we call this the big sad machine because all we can see is that you're just getting 20 minutes of intense light, which is not just yellow, it's red that the sun has, right?
Yeah.
And you're 20 minutes and you could see these people come in just like this, and you could see them leave with a little bit of more of a relaxation mode. And most of red lights are preventative. We're not healing. We're healing some people like pain and inflammation, but there's some people that don't need that, but it's preventative too as well. So, and that's not, so if you're in perimenopause, get under light right now, get your hormones hooked up to the red light because it'll help you as you go through menopause. because it's a savior for me in the last 2 years. And I've been in menopause, I don't know, forever. Absolutely forever. I feel like it's forever. It is forever.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah. I'm glad you got into a red light because it's amazing. It's an amazing, amazing new modality coming in. I'm excited to see how far it's going, and being in a lot of red light groups, it's kind of neat to see the testimonials that come in from red light. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I wish the time wasn't going by so fast. I'd love to ask you 2 questions that I
Sure.
ask every guest. But before that, I'm curious if there's any other like closing notes you'd like to share about menopause. Like maybe if there's one thing you wish you knew, or like one biggest lesson or something like that.
I'm a big affirmation girl, and I have one affirmation I say all the time, and it was pertaining to bending my knee because I had knee problems. But I had to start to say, I am beautiful. I
Aw,
I am gorgeous, because self-talk is really bad when your body is changing and you're like,
I
oh my
bet.
God, my boobs are huge. I can't put my shirt on. I'm sweating. Self-talk can drag you right down. So if you can stand 6 feet away from the mirror and just tell yourself how much you love him, I think that's one of my biggest takeaways of doing this journey, is being able to say, I love myself
Yeah.
no matter what.
Yeah.
Now, believe in it is hard, but you have to, it's practice, right? It'll
Yeah.
come. It'll come. Yeah. It's
Yeah, that's
hard.
really great because in society, like typically the narrative is that like you're not beautiful anymore if you're
No,
going through menopause or if
no.
you're above a certain age.
Yeah.
And
That's society, right? Like look at our aging
yeah,
actors and
especially
actresses.
towards women because
Yeah, I
like
know.
there's
Yeah.
so many actors like George
Yeah.
Clooney, for example,
Oh,
who's
I
like
know.
in his older age and everyone's like, "Oh, he's so,"
You
because he
know,
is.
I want to tell you a little story. This past weekend, when we were away with our friends, they've known us forever. And my husband, he just ages beautifully. And my girlfriend who was there, she said to him, oh, Andrew, you haven't changed one bit. You're still the same Andrew. You still have the most, you're so handsome. And she's going on and on. And I'm like sitting there going, oh, great. Right. Here I am, big boobs. I gained some weight, the hair is falling out, it's not the same. And he turned around and goes, no, I'm not. He goes, look at my grade. Looking at him laughing, going, seriously, buddy? Like, really? Like, he's like, I was just like, there's a shift that needs to be shifted, where somebody she hadn't seen me in a long time, would come to me and say, my God, you're still the most gorgeous woman I met 20 years ago. Because that's different coming from, and that's where you have to surround yourself with like-minded people, right? To give you that boost. And that's why I'm like, it's changed a lot. Like you have to be able to say to you, my God, look how your belly is. When you're pregnant, your belly is gorgeous. So what? You have a big freaking, I got zits everywhere on my face. You're still beautiful as a woman. And that's what we're missing.
Yeah.
That's what we're missing. And that's why you have to tell yourself, if no one else is going to tell you.
Yeah.
It's you.
And that's why
Yeah.
conversations like this are very
Yeah.
important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely.
So
You're
that
amazing.
transitions. Oh, thank you. So are you. That transitions really nicely to one of my questions I wanted to ask
Sure.
you, which is what does self-love mean to you?
Oh, everything. Everything, everything, everything. I believe that if you can't love yourself, you can't love anyone else fully.
True. So true.
So, and it's like, if you can't be alone with yourself, then you can't be with people. Because
Yeah.
I believe that the body needs to have some time by itself where you can actually talk to yourself. And when you talk to yourself, make sure it's positive. Yes, of course, a negative is going to come up, but you have to love yourself. You got to love yourself. There's always imperfections, but those imperfections, whatever. What's in here, in this heart, to say to yourself, love yourself, is the hardest thing anyone has to do, but it takes time. It's practice. It's so much
totally a
practice.
practice.
It's a practice. It's a practice. It's a consistent practice. It's consistency, right? Just love yourself. Who cares about your imperfections? Cares. Just love yourself, because everyone else will love you too. Yeah.
And then what's your favorite part about being a woman?
Oh, well, okay. Oh no, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Just kidding. You know what? I'm embracing all these changes. I started off as a single girl. I finally found a man, was a fiance, then I was a wife, then I'm a mom, then I'm a mom for like 20 years, still a mom, and then I'm perimenopause. We go through so many changes. And I think every time there's a change, something shifts in you. And I think that's why I embrace this and laugh about it, because I love the shifting and changing. I might not like it every day. I'm just going to be honest. I'm not positive every day. Of course, I have my days that are bad, but these changes are fun. They're fun and silly and laughable, and they're cryable. But being a woman, we change. We're never the same. We're big butterflies. Cocoon, big butterflies. Yeah.
And we go into many cocoons through our lifetime.
God, yes. Some days I'm just like, do I want to come out today? Oh, okay, I'll come. And today I'm going to stay in my jammies. That's the thing. That's the way it is. But you have to embrace that. But think about it though. In my stage of life, my kid's 25. So what's mom going to do now? Mom's going to grasp at everything she has, red light, creative, talking to you, and spreading the word, because that's super important to do. Don't get stuck of being in the same spot. You have wings. Go for it. Go for it. Jump, leap, but you're not going to fail.
Yeah.
No, you're not going to fail. Yeah. I love it. I love being a woman.
I love it too.
I know. I can't wait to see what happens.
We're really lucky.
Yeah, we're very lucky. We're like very lucky. And I could say that I had a shitty, oh, am I supposed to say that? A crappy
You can say
way,
that. That's okay.
a crappy road. But you know what? If I look back at those roads, there was a lesson in every road. And this is where I am now.
Yeah.
At 59, I'm turning 59 this year. And things are happening. And I'm so excited to get happening. Yeah, some of the things have fallen off. Absolutely. But I'm grounded, and I can't wait to see what happens tomorrow, this year, next year, because I'm excited about it. And that's what you have to do. That's what you have to do. But it's okay to cry. It's okay to have bad days. Because I have them. Everybody has them.
Yeah, it's a human thing.
It's a human thing. Some people that, that's another conversation, but it's a human thing. It's a woman thing. Yeah. Men, I don't know how they do it, but it's a woman thing. Sometimes I wish I had that. And, let's go for a beer. I'm mad at you, but we're going for a beer, sometimes. But I just love our womenness. I love it.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
For everyone that's tuned in to this episode, where can they find you online? Where can they connect with you? And then anything you'd like to share in addition to what you've shared about your work? You have the floor.
I have the floor. I'm on Instagram. I'm really easy to find because my name's only Adonica, and there's hardly any Adonicas in the world. So Adonica into house on Instagram. I'm on LinkedIn too. And you can find Cellebrate Light on Facebook too. We have a group and page, and our website's the same, celebratelightca. Yeah. And if you're in the Edmonton area or want more information about red light, just give me an email. You can find my email address on my website too as well. Yeah. And
those links will be in the caption or the show notes, depending on where you are watching or listening.
Yes. If you got any questions, and if you just want to talk about menopause or anything, I'm open, because let's get the conversation started. Yeah. It's not a secret. It's not a secret. It's not a secret.
And I just want to say, as someone who hasn't gone through menopause yet, but knows that it's inevitable, I'm very grateful to women like you who are like, you're paving a sidewalk for me to walk up behind you when it's my turn to go through menopause.
And I can't wait to see, because I think it's changing. It's starting to change. And that's the key. It's got to make some changes in the world. With my mother, it was, don't talk about it.
Yeah.
And now it's starting to, I'm seeing the changes.
Yeah.
So it's just just reach out and have a group of friends and laugh about it, have some wine over it when you get there, but do it when you have a baby too, because that's how these girls are my friends now.
Yeah.
And we've known them forever. It's just, that's why women are so great. They're so great.
I actually have a next door neighbor who's like, I live in a townhouse, so she
Okay.
lives like right on the other side of this wall right here.
Oh, nice. You knocked 3 times.
Yeah, exactly. And she has a baby who's she just turned a year old.
Aw.
And they want to have a second, and like I was talking to them about how me and my husband want to have a child soon, and we're kind of like planning to get pregnant at the same time.
Yeah. I met
We're
all
like,
my
let's get
friends
pregnant in the
after.
fall.
Yeah. It was so, and then it's so funny because then a couple of my friends, I had my one with all my friends that had the first, and then they kept getting pregnant. And I'm like, see ya. But we're still friends. Bye-bye. But we would get together and let the kids play and stuff like that. But now, again, like I said, Evan is best friends with these kids, and it's kind of the fun thing. But yeah, stick with her. She's got your back. And like I said, you'll do fine. Just go with your gut.
Yeah.
Because that's the leader. And I'm my mother and your mother. My mom is the one that helped me a lot. Yeah.
Nice.
They know.
Yeah.
Those ladies know. Yeah, they know. Yeah.
Oh, this was such a beautiful conversation.
Yeah. I love talking to you. I could talk to you all day.
I could keep going.
I know, me too. Maybe we'll do part 2.
Yeah, that would be great.
Yeah.